This is the Flabbergasted Podcast, where we just can't believe you haven't seen it.
Every episode, we discuss a movie that one of us has seen and the other hasn't.
And sometimes that neither of us have seen.
Follow us on Instagram
At flabberpod.
and subscribe in your podcast app of choice. I'm your host, Jessica.
I'm your host, Rogi. Let's get to it.
Hey guys, it's Rachel and Jess, and we are here today talking about The Hunger Games, which is the first movie in the Hunger Games series. It came out in 2012 and was directed by Gary Ross. The rundown of the movie is every year in the ruins of what was once North America, the nation of Panem forces each of its 12 districts to send a teenage boy and girl to compete in the Hunger Games. Part twisted entertainment, part government intimidation tactic, the Hunger Games are a nationally televised event in which tributes must fight with one another until one survivor remains. Pitted against some highly trained tributes and who have prepared for these games their entire lives, Katniss is forced to rely upon her sharp instincts as well as the mentorship from a drunken former victor, Haymitch Abernathy. If she's ever to return home to District 12, Katniss must make impossible choices in the arena that weigh survival against humanity and life against love. The world will be watching. So what is your background with the Hunger Games, Jess? And then I'll go into some of mine.
I know about it.
Okay. So just, this is a thing, and that's about it?
Yeah, we never watched it because it's the post-apocalyptic type dystopian thing is not Jeremy's favorite.
Okay.
And so it's just something we never watched it together. I just didn't watch it on my own. And that's kind of it.
Okay.
But I know a lot of people really liked it. But then I was also like, these are kids. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So
I was in that bit of just kind of growing up in the household I was in that like, oh my gosh, this is a movie about kids killing kids. This is awful. Why would anyone write this or do this or like make this, entertainment? And so it wasn't until I kind of did my own research on it and actually read about what it was and everything, they realized that that was a huge generalization that was thrown out there and is not the case. There's so much more to this movie and these series and what it looks like. And I feel like Suzanne Collins does a really good job with just kind of exploring the awful parts of just kind of power and what it looks like to hold power and oppression over people and stuff like that. And so, yes, I am a big fan of the book series. I have read all of the books multiple times. I have them all. They just came out with another one this year. And so I am going to work my hardest to not talk about book stuff that comes in, but it is always really difficult for me because there's just so many wonderful details. So I highly encourage everyone to go out and read them and also watch them because I think they do a pretty good job translating. Obviously, it's not perfect, but yeah, there's a lot of good pointers in between there. Why we decided to watch this one was actually you saw what's the guy's name in the second one?
Alan Richardson.
Yes, you saw Alan in the second one. You're like, oh my gosh, he's in these movies.
I just saw a clip on Instagram because so I know him from Smallville.
Okay, yeah.
Like when he was Aquaman, like way back in the day. But we've recently been watching Reacher, which I love, and he's so good in it. And I follow him on Instagram, and I just generally like his content. And I saw he was in this, and I was like, how did I miss that? Like, obviously, I should watch this movie. But then I'm definitely not going to start with the second one because that's just dumb.
Yeah.
Especially as intertwined as I believe these films to be, you don't start with the second one in that case. So
you had texted me and you're like, hey, oh my gosh, I didn't know he was in this. And I called you immediately and I was like, Jessica, I am 100% down to podcast the Hunger Games movies with you. I would love to do that. But he's only in the second one and it's for a short period. I wanted you to know what you're getting into because I knew. I
don't want you to cry. I don't want you to be disappointed.
I knew that I was going to be so pumped and excited about this. And I didn't want this to be like, oh, I think this will be fun. And then you're 4 movies in. And it's just like, this is not what I was wanting it to be. So I appreciate you taking this journey with me.
Yes.
So that way we can go into it. And And so I wanted to just kind of give us an idea. So Suzanne Collins, she is the author for it. And so her inspiration for the Hunger Games came from when she was channel surfing on TV one night. One channel, she was observing people like competing in a reality TV show, and then she flipped to another channel, and it was the footage of the invasion in Iraq. And so it was just those parallels is what kind of brought on this idea for Panem and what that looks like, which I think is, can be a huge reflection on even where we are in the world today and what that looks like. And so one of the things I really appreciate about her writing is that she came out with the first 3 books, and then there was a pause, and she came out with another one, which is a prequel to the first 3 books. And then this year she released another one, which is also a prequel to the first 3, but after that.
You wouldn't even necessarily call it a sequel, right? Because it was just a different generation in that, a different time period in that series.
Yeah, so it's within the same world. It's so like the president that we see, President Snow in this, it's his upbringing. So it's him as a teenager. And so the first 3 books are about Katniss. The 4th book is about Snow. And then the 5th book that was just released is about the Haymitch, who is their mentor for them. So we're getting some pretty key points, and we learn a lot of history over it that we're not going to get into right now. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack in this series if you have the time and the interest in it.
Yeah.
So I really like the opening. I honestly forgot. So I'm really glad that I rewatched it to be able to prepare for this with you, because the opening credits, it's words before they start talking. And one of the opening things that stated is the pageant shall be known as the Hunger Games. And I love that they use the word pageant.
I thought that was weird.
Because it's a production. Like, that's what it is. It is a production to keep this it is
literally reality TV.
In line. Yes. Like, Panem is the capital. They are in charge. They have all the resources to hold fast over these 12 different districts that they have. And I feel like the use of words in that opening scene really lays down the groundwork for this is what we're getting into. It's not just, okay, well, we're just, bringing madness in here and killing people and doing whatever. Like, it is a calculated, every decision that is made is one that someone is thinking through fairly clearly, and is like, this is a specific choice to be able to move forward with this. And so I really liked that being one of the opening pieces, because we see how intentional the Capitol is right from the beginning. And it just really gets you into that like game reality aesthetics, like, because there's a host talking with the game maker, and just kind of really just like, this is the start of what we're heading into.
Yeah.
And then it's the immediate switch to we're in the districts. Like, we're opening with this reality stuff, and then it's the opening of Katniss in District 12 and with her little sister. Did you have any feelings about that stark difference of just like jumping from that into this, or is it just kind of, we're starting the movie, what are we doing?
We're starting the movie, but it's also like, that's interesting that there's such a difference. So obviously somebody is out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
I'll let you determine who.
Yeah, I think we get a really good first comparison of just from that little bit of the Capitol and the districts, because you see how they're living and what it looks like. And so we've just got a really good overview of that. We're seeing a little bit of Katniss's life with her family, with her friends, how she's doing stuff that looks like it's not right or correct. She's going past the boundary. She's hunting,
She looks like she's breaking rules.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't know what the rules are specifically, and you don't know why they're there. But you know that she's very competently breaking them. So you know that she's done it for a while and knows what she's doing.
Yeah. So we hear talk of the reaping and what that is. Do you understand like fully what that looks like then, just from after kind of like hearing them and then seeing the reaping process? Do you kind of know what that all looks like?
I don't know how to answer
kind of why
that.
they're doing it. Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
They talk about it and then they go right into it. And I'm like, okay, they're pulling names from a bucket.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they pretty much census the children every year.
Yeah.
And then they put their names, and the kids can enter their names more by getting food.
So I don't
throughout.
think that was really explained too well in the movie.
Sure. Yeah.
Was it?
I don't think so.
Because-
I mean, I have a lot of the background knowledge, again, because of the books. And so they make a brief statement of like, don't put your name in.
Well, Katniss says that. She's like, don't take food from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
It's not worth putting your name in or something like that. I don't know.
She and Gail have that whole conversation of how many times is your name in there?
Yes.
Because it gets put in once you hit a certain age, 12. You get it. It's put in once a year, but then you can also take your name and like get food from the government once a month to get extra. And it's, I mean, bare minimum, some grain, some flour, like, you know, just.
It's their form of like SNAP.
Yes. And so in order to get that resource, you have to.
Which, by the way, is like systemic, poverty.
Yep. So it is a great way to keep District 12 in line.
Yeah.
And so the government, I mean, you really see the oppression here. Like they're coal miners. Like that's what District 12 is for. They are down in the mines, like digging for coal by hand. So it's just, it's a lot of hard work going on. And so we see a little bit of just like what that looks like with the, with their names being in, they have it X amount of times. Gail's from a large family. He's the oldest kid of a large family. So like he's gotten extra, he's put his name in extra to be able to get food for his family. So that way his little siblings aren't putting their name in. And so you just you're seeing what that looks like, what this means to these families.
I don't think I realized they were coal miners until later on when you get the flashback of her dad dying.
Gotcha.
Like it wasn't very clear to me that's what
yeah, because I mean, I think it was just like men walking and they were dirty. And so like it could have been a factory, that could have been, but it's coal. That's what they're doing, District 12. So we're at the square. We are in the reaping, and Katniss volunteers herself for.
I don't understand why we're dressing up for this.
Because it's televised.
But we're I laid you out a nice outfit. It's not about the requirement is to wear a nice outfit. Her mom's like, I laid you out a nice outfit, which I think is weird. I'm just throwing it out there. You don't have to answer it. I'm just throwing it out there.
I was going to say, I will get into the book if I answer it. So I mean, they're supposed to look nice. They are, it is.
And maybe that's just something we don't have to know.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to know, but I thought it was weird that they commented on it without commenting on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the dress that she laid out is her mom's, and she doesn't normally wear her mom's clothes. And so her mom, like she didn't have anything nice enough. And so it was from her mom, which is from her mom's past, which, so
is a thing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that they have to look nice because it's on TV, but it was just like this weird kind of, I don't feel like they said like, this is how you participate and this is how we act as participants in the reaping.
Sure.
And even then, like she didn't prepare her sister for like getting split up.
I honestly,
or for getting her finger pricked.
Yeah, I think part of that again was because I haven't read that book. It's been like 6 months, but I think that some of that was just movieism that they put in there because I don't think Prim she was like hyperventilating, and I don't remember that happening in the books.
Well, I mean, she either knew what it was supposed to be like because she'd witnessed them before.
Yeah.
Prim, or she didn't know what it was supposed to be like, her actual participating one, because this is her first year, I've gathered. And Katniss should have said, like, okay, you're going to prick your finger. You're going to go stand in line. You'll stand next to your little friend, Susie, Clara, or whatever.
It feels like there should have been more of a plan prior to getting there.
Yeah. It feels like as the sister that she is, she would have prepared Prim a little bit more for that.
Sure. Yeah.
Or maybe she wouldn't have because she wants Prim to be a kid still. I don't know. That's an interesting
That is very, like, I have a little sister, and I did my very best to protect her from meanies in the world and different things like that, to the point where I babied her for sure and just was like, don't worry about it. And so there was multiple things where I was just like, don't even you don't even need to bother yourself with this. You just go play or you do this. So it could have been,
which is good to a certain point, but it's very realistic that the reaping is going to happen. It's not like you might encounter a bully. It's like, no, your name is like very possible to get pulled. Probably not, but you at least need to know how to go through the steps up to your name not getting called.
Yeah. Yeah. So how were your feelings when she volunteers for?
I mean, you knew she was going to do it, one, because I've seen all of the clips, but also there was no way she was going to let her sister do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's so many emotions pulled from this because you're seeing the relief in the crowd of other kids when their name isn't pulled. Mm-hmm. You're seeing the tension from Mom and from Katniss when Prim's name has been pulled. You're seeing the emotion from Katniss right away, and then her switching to her like logical thinking of like, oh, like I have to now to go do this. And so then she volunteers, tries to prep Prim. Gale gets her out of there. Like you see, you're getting flashbacks of Mom's face, like the town's face. Like there's just so many different emotions that we get to see from so many people because
I think she processed it really quickly too.
Yeah, I think she just kind of switched into like a different mode. Like she was just like, well, I have to do this. I don't
have time to be upset about this.
Which literally is Katniss's whole thing throughout the entire series. Her only goal is to protect
pretty well.
Prim.
Yeah.
So she is going to do literally whatever she has to ensure that Prim is safe and that she is going to be taken care of. And so as soon as she got to that point, I think it was just an automatic switch of like, this is what I have to do. This is the next step. Yep. Like, here we go. Because that's her entire focus is just the love for her sister. And
which is probably because their dad died and she had to protect her sister. But did she do any healing on her own? Or did she just slip right into, I have to protect my sister? And so I'm not processing my own grief. I'm not processing any of these things for me. Which, just listener, not very healthy. I'm not judging, but I'm just saying, like, as an outsider, not very healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that she shouldn't protect her sister, but she didn't give herself time to process any of that on her own either.
So
sometimes you don't have time. I get that too.
Yeah. So once we see them at the station getting to say their goodbyes, what are your thoughts on Katniss and her mom's relationship? Because we're getting to see it in a couple of different instances.
There's definitely a bitterness there that Katniss has had to step up in a way for the family. And I think she's resentful a little bit that her mom didn't protect her like she's trying to protect her sister.
Yeah.
I think that, she's not telling her mom you can't freak out because she's telling her you can't do that because you have to protect Prim and you have to feed her and you have to like take care of her while I'm gone because I can't do it for you now. Like you have to step up now. She's not saying I need you to be strong for me or anything like that.
She's still only thinking of Prim.
Well, but she's also like disregarded herself she does not think that she has value to her mom. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have a loving relationship anymore. It's filled with resentment from Katniss and shame from her mom.
She went into a huge depressive state when her husband passed away. And so it was just Katniss caring for them both. Yeah. And so like she was doing her very best. And this is kind of going into the book just a little bit, but like they share about how there's like orphan homes in District 12. So like they could have been taken away. So Katniss,
like
from
she had
the age of 12,
has
just been driving so hard. She's just been in that constant fight and flight mode of this is what I have to do to keep my family safe and she's had some fun times along the way. Like she's some peaceful times, like where it's not been that constant, but it's been pretty consistent of like, we have to do this. So yeah, we get to see the people getting to say their goodbyes. And then they are headed off on the train. They're seeing all the new crazy fancy things. Like, I mean, just it's like being taken from one world into another.
So we don't get anything about PETA though. And I'm like, it's a very weird, awkward, his name gets called too. And you don't see his interaction with his parents. Like you don't see, it's also like the town they're not real attached to these children.
They are in the books. So if I could go into the books just for a second. So
Sure.
Peeta's dad actually comes and says goodbye to Katniss and brings her cookies. And he's like,
Okay.
don't worry, I'm going to take care of the little girl. And talking about Prim, because Prim
Okay.
grows strawberries and she takes them and sells them to certain people in town. And he really likes Prim because he used to have a thing for Katniss's mom.
Oh,
And
okay.
so way back when they were younger, but Katniss's mom fell in love with her dad. And so he's just always kind of watched out for Prim just because, he had that affection for the mom and he just sees how joyful and wonderful Prim is. And she has a goat that Katniss got her. And so she sells the goat's milk. And so these are people that are pretty well known in town. And that's just not shown
in the movie.
in the movies.
Okay.
But
Well, that makes me
Peeta's
feel a little
parents
better.
do go and say goodbye to them. To him, but it is very different. Katniss has a friend that also comes and sees her. It's not just those and then it's done. She has multiple visitors.
Okay.
And that's part of Katniss's, we see a lot of her going back and forth of are these people trying to play me? What's going on?
Mhm.
Are they being nice to me for this? And she genuinely she throws away the cookies that Peeta's dad had beautifully iced her and given to her because she's maybe this is,
Peeta's
him trying to be nice.
now. Maybe
and-
he's
yeah. So there's more of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Just in the book. So we get to see Haymitch giving them advice. What are your thoughts on drunken Haymitch and just kind of the advice that he's giving them and not giving them? What were your kind of
He keeps calling her darling and
sweetheart?
stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, it's not exactly creepy, but oh my God, dripping with condescension. You're being so condescending. So condescending. And then Peeta is very weird in a way that he's very personable and likable, but
Extremely.
You almost don't see the weight of what's happening on him at all.
So do you think that he's milking it or genuine? Where are you on Peeta then?
I think Peeta understands. He has more money than Katniss's family.
Yes, he was a baker son. And
I
so
think
they live
he
in town.
understands the political aspects a little bit more
Okay.
and how he has the luxury and privilege of not just doing every little single thing to survive. He's able to take a more strategic view.
Okay. Of just we need to, this is where we are. He's accepted it. He's we just have to
Yes.
figure out how to move forward. I mean, he's immediately wants to jump into strategy.
And she, I think, is still dealing with
I'm here. This is terrifying.
yeah. And I'm so really upset about it.
Yeah.
Even though she is also very she's thinking strategy in her head, but she's also very guarded because she's thinking survival. And I don't know if this is something that I can talk about with everybody else.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Guarded. I think that's a great way to
So,
describe Katniss.
yeah.
That's how she is
Yeah.
all of the time.
Yeah. I think you want to know, I would want to know what's happening. Why are we doing this? Where is this going? I would be asking all of those questions.
Mm.
I think kind of Peeta is trying to ask those questions.
Yeah.
But it's just annoying Haymitch because I think Peeta's I may not have a chance, but I'm going to do everything I can to have a chance.
Yeah.
And Haymitch is already dude, you're dead. Why are we even talking about this?
Do you see any of it from Haymitch's side as he gets thrown 2 tributes every year?
Oh, yeah.
He
He's
has to go through it.
I don't want to get attached.
Yeah.
You're going to die. I'm going to watch you die.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on Effie?
I like the actress that plays her, whose name comes and goes in my brain all the time, and I can never remember it. But I like her. I think she's fun. I think Effie sees more than she says, but she has to play the game too.
Gotcha. So she's just a capital person. This is
Mhm.
what she's supposed to be doing. And I think,
But I don't think she's crazy, crazy deep. I think she sees a little bit more,
okay.
but she keeps herself in the shallow end because if she gets too deep, then she has to do things.
Okay.
She has to be responsible for her actions then.
I think it's such an interesting, Stark difference when she's reading off the names. And then once we get into the train, I mean, she's just describing things like the crystal chandeliers and the certain doorknobs and the mahogany table. And so when Katniss like drives her like knife through it when they're talking with Haymitch, and she's like, that is mahogany. Like, it just cracks me up every time she says the word mahogany in all of the movies. I'm always just like, there we go. Which also was improv. Like that was not a line that she was like scheduled to say. She just keeps pulling. She did so much for this character, and I love her interpretation of it. I think she was phenomenal.
I think that she wouldn't care about it being mahogany because she's from the capital and they do everything in excess and don't care about the luxury items.
But I think she sees the value in it because she's not a head honcho capital person because she's assigned to District 12, the lowest of the districts. And so like she, you know, you would want
she's
a better
sort of in
district.
This weird like
she's on
in between.
Yeah, I think she's on the middle to lower end of a capital person.
So maybe a little bit more realistic where she understands the value of what they have and what it is and how everybody should be really excited about it. But not to where she's dismissive of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're going through, we get to meet Senna, which is her stylist, and he's talking
Lenny
with her.
Kravitz.
Yes, he's very real with her. What are your first impressions, or just like, what do you think of their relationship throughout this movie?
They got really familiar really fast. Mm-hmm. Like, she's guarded with everybody else, but she's not guarded with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he says the right things to like break through, which is fine.
He does
also,
great
his
as a
voice
therapist.
Is very delightful in this. Like, it's very soothing.
Yeah.
Which is really fun.
I like how he listened to her and he took that into how they were going to do so. Like, obviously, he already had a plan for their outfit. It's like a stylist and everything.
I think she gave him permission with her, like...
I think after seeing her volunteer, that's what helped him evolve. This is what I want to put you guys forth.
But obviously puts him front and center, like puts him front and center, but also like he's like, this is my opportunity to make a statement regarding the potential rebellion.
Okay, so you think that he's already just like, hey, like this, I don't like how things are happening in the Capitol. What's going on? Like, I'm going to put my stamp on this.
People have been probably thinking about it for 12 years. And he's like, here's a person that can get people talking.
Okay.
And so if I do this, it brings more attention to her journey, whether she becomes the face of the rebellion or whatever.
Sure.
Later on. Because he's not there yet. He just sees something in her that's like, she's not our average District 12 lamb to slaughter.
Sure.
So I think that's what it is. And I think that he's, I mean, again, if he's a District 12, he's already got the whole, I understand the like economical disparity that's happening. That makes sense. So yeah.
Okay. So we get to see our first impressions of the tributes
on the chariots. Is this
on the
what
chariots?
we're at now?
And then we see them in the training session. So they've got multiple days where they're all training together. There's different sessions.
We're not going to talk about the chariots.
Do you want? We can talk about the chariots.
I just think there's a really long, awkward, weird arena space that's just very weird.
I mean, it's just like down the strip at the Capitol. It's like going to the Circle in Indy, but like a bigger area. Like,
yeah, still very weird.
Yeah, it's for showboating. I mean, it's for the pomp and circumstance. It's for this.
It's a parade.
Pageant. That's what it is.
I know.
And so, yeah, it's been going on for years and years. That's just, it's part of the life. Yeah.
Nobody. So here's the other thing. Would have never, ever, first of all, PETA, that's adorable. You're pointing out her assets. But I would have not drawn together the fact that PETA was particularly strong.
Oh, okay.
Like, I would not have just made that connection.
Just by like looking at him?
Just by even thinking that he's a baker's kid. Like, I'm not thinking about he has to carry bags of flour
all over the place.
And that makes him particularly strong. So I think that's very strategic of her to make that connection.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've been living in the same town watching each other for years.
I mean, I don't know that though.
Well, we kind of see some of the flashback.
Which hasn't happened yet, right?
A little bit of the flashback happened.
Which the only thing I know about that is something happened to her and she's laying in the rain and he throws her bread.
Yeah. So what happened was that he burnt the bread because he saw her out there, and then he got hit. But his mom slapped him across the face and was like, feed it to the pigs because it's ruined. And so he fed part of it to the pigs and then threw the rest at her. So that way she could have bread.
That's just like one flashpoint in time. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
They don't do a really good job of building this relationship with them, like having known each other outside of the.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
They just show you little bits and pieces here and there. And so that's where, I mean, the details really come from the books. Yes.
And they sat next to each other in class, maybe.
Well, he shares a story.
And they answered questions.
He shares a story when they're in the games and like hiding in the cave, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
About the first time he noticed her. They were in school and I think they were both 6. And someone asked if they knew the Valley song. And she rose her hand and stood up on a chair and sang out the Valley song. And that was when he was like, wow, like,
oh, you're
this
super
girl
cute.
is awesome.
Yeah.
And so he's just, ever since they were 6.
So maybe he's just been
following her
paying
along.
attention to her. But
yeah, he's been paying attention.
We don't see that on her side. Also, he says that in the games. And so I don't know if he's just BSing.
Gotcha. Do you think Peeta is a BS type person?
Yes.
Okay. So you just don't trust Peeta?
No, it's not that I don't trust him.
Okay.
It's that he's playing the game and I don't know when what he says is 100% true or not 100% true.
So my impressions that I've got from Peeta, like right from the beginning, is that when he talks about before they even enter the games, how he doesn't want them to change him. Like he wants to be that person right up front. So really with Peeta, I feel like what you see is what you get. There are a few times where he, throws one out and you're just kind of like, whoa, like what's going on here? But I always have felt that Peeta's been a very genuine person. And so I don't have too many when he's talking with his core people, I'm never really concerned that he's lying to them. Yeah. But that's my,
but I honestly don't even know like who his core people are because we don't know Peeta. We're not told anything from his point of view.
Yeah. Well, all the books are written from Katniss's point of view. And so we just don't get a lot from his point of view.
We're just only taking our assumptions based on what we see.
Yeah. Yeah. So how annoyed were you when they are going in for their ratings?
Yeah. And
there's this room full of men not paying attention. And like, granted, they had seen 20 plus kids already prior.
I don't understand why she's the last person.
Is she? So in the movie, I think they switch it because in the movie, Peeta hasn't gone yet. But I'm pretty sure it's always the boy. Well, because in when they claim the names, she's always like, girls
as
first.
Always, ladies first.
But I've definitely seen other areas where it's like boys
she's the
first.
Last person
but like
standing in the room or whatever.
Yeah, it's Katniss first and then Peeta. So I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
I think I don't love that because it makes me think that they did it just to suit their purposes.
Sure.
And that's annoying. Like, especially when they made such a big deal about as always ladies first.
Yeah.
Like that annoys me. So it disrupts the believability.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, fine. They've seen 12 people. They're bored.
Yeah.
The game, whatever's. And I'm like, okay, they're bored. That's fine. Whatever. And then she misses the mark on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's because there's nothing at stake for you to hit that.
Yeah.
Like,
and she's nervous.
You don't have anything that's.
There's no pressure as to like, you need to shoot this down right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's learned a lot, but she probably is now like, I don't want to say she thrives under pressure, but it's maybe where her comfort level is.
Yeah.
Like there's a comfort to it when she knows she has to get it right. Like it adds like a stableness.
Sure.
And so then she hits the apple or whatever, which I'm like, good. Because they need to be freaking paying attention. That's so rude what they're asking for. And then they're not even respecting the person in the room.
Yeah. Rogie will regularly do the Katniss curtsy. If I like ask him to do something or like if he's done something and just like, he's just kind of like, like he thinks that that's really funny. So we often will just kind of do a little curtsy at each other around the house. And so, I think it's really interesting they get their numbers. Katniss is given 11, which is higher than anybody else. I think part of that was done because they play it off as, oh, she deserved it. But I think also part of it is because they're putting a target on her back.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a person that they need to be going after. So that way.
So all of the career tributes or whatever
Yes.
they're called will pay attention.
Yeah. And I think that Snow has a really good line where he just talks about with Crane, hope is the only thing stronger than fear. He is very aware of what's going on in the districts and how things are happening. And so is the game makers for some reason. Sometimes they see bits of that, which I don't quite fully understand why he has access to that, but whatever. And so he's very much aware of what this pageant does, what the purpose of it is, and how they need to be controlling the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that he definitely played a part in her getting the 11 to put that target on her back as to, hey, this is one to watch out for. Everyone needs to go for her because she could be a real threat.
Yeah.
And so when we get to the interviews, what were your thoughts on those? Just kind of seeing that play out.
I love him. He's so great. But also Stanley Tucci.
Oh, yes. He's one of my favorite male actors ever. I absolutely he can play anything, anyone. He's just absolutely amazing. And I love him to death. Yes.
And he does it so well. He's being a character.
Yes.
Even the person, whatever, I forget his name, he's playing this MC character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if, because you see a couple times he catches himself where he's locked into the answer or whatever, and then he's oh shoot, I have to control this.
He just kind of jumps back. Yeah.
And so you see him react. So I think that's interesting too, which is obviously so conspiracist. All of these people, they know.
Yeah.
They know that they're bystanders or witnesses to this oppression.
Yeah.
And by doing nothing, they're doing nothing.
Yeah. I think that it's definitely been talked about because I follow quite a few different plots, stuff for Hunger Games, that one of the bigger villains in the Hunger Games is Caesar Flickerman, because he is the one out there projecting all of this and making us fall in love or hate or, just kind of he can turn a narrative of in the next movie is someone says something that he disagrees with and he's just oh, it's one woman's opinion. He has a way of really just kind of helping us connect with people, but also drawing us in of this is why we do this. This is the reason, we have a point to it.
He makes it seem okay.
Yes.
Which I think that's a huge thing. If people were able to note that and see you have influence and what you say is important.
Yeah.
Especially if you're saying it to a group of people and not,
a nation.
Yeah.
Yeah. The influence that the media has on us is, I think just a huge, again, just thing that we can take into our real world experience.
Well, and it's even worse when you have the influencers called that for, a reason on your social media posts, and they're just saying things. And even right now, there are things that I am very careful to not say on the podcast that if I were just talking to you and Rogie and we weren't being recorded, I would totally say them.
Yeah.
Because I have to take into account, I have to fact check myself in live time, or I have to tell somebody else to fact check me, or I have to tell our listeners hey, this is just me saying this probably super uneducated opinion. Do with it what you will. Think about it. I really just want you to think about it. I don't want you to take anything that I'm saying for fact. When I'm talking about Fight Club and I'm talking about how our healthcare is ridiculous and how you can tell your doctor, not all doctors, yes, I understand. You can tell your doctor you're experiencing these symptoms and they can blow you off. And Rogie's does that happen? I'm yes, that happens. I'm not trying to hit you with a bunch of facts. I'm just asking you as a listener to think about that and recognize that there are people that have that experience. And maybe it shifts your perspective. Maybe it prompts you to have a conversation with somebody that you know.
But mainly just do your own research. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. It's check it out.
Well, and that's what I mean by have a conversation with somebody you know that this has been happening to.
Yeah.
And see something from their point of view.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I digressed hard, but the point was you have influence, and in this day with social media, you have influence, and I think that comes with a responsibility to be careful about what you're saying or be mindful at least.
I think, yes, being mindful is I think that's the biggest thing for it. Is like I don't want people to feel like they have to tiptoe around me, but I think you just need to be mindful of what you're saying, how it's coming across, what that looks like, having that conversation, not talking down to people, for sure.
Even in a smaller sense, I have family members who are like, Jessica said this was happening at 6. And I'm like, no, I did not say that. And they're like, yeah, you did. I'm like, no, I didn't. I was sitting in the room with somebody else who said it. So, like, maybe get your facts right. Like, it wasn't me that said it. But then they're telling, like, a whole group of, like, 10 other people.
Yeah.
And it's misinformation because they weren't paying close enough attention.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I've digressed hard on Flickerman, but I can understand where he is, an unobvious villain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Then PETA comes out with the whole, like, I'm in love with Katniss thing.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I'm like, is he really? Like, he doesn't really know Katniss. He just knows Katniss. Like, they don't really know each other. They don't talk to each other. They don't have a relationship or anything. So he's in love with this idea of her, maybe? Sure. But also, is this a really good way to get some attention on them? Sure. Is this a good way to help because she has an 11? This is before or after we find out she has an 11?
It's after, yeah.
Is this a good way to help people, like, draw more attention to her because they need positive attention now that she got the target on her back from the 11?
Image, I think he hit it on the head when he said he made you desirable because her interview wasn't good.
No.
She was phasing out. She kind of got some laughs, but like it was all surface. It was absolutely nothing. And so
what do you expect? Like, she's never done this before.
Yeah, she didn't have the presence that Glimmer and Clove and, Kato
who have had
and
special training for it.
Specialized training for it. And so I think strategically wise, I think it was great to give the Capitol something to root for between PETA and like their love story and what that looks like. And that is a reoccurring theme for PETA is just dropping these little bombs of like, he's barely doing anything, but just that one statement. I mean, everyone erupted with. Which is why I think
he knows what he's doing.
Yes.
He has thought about this.
He's got that bit of strategy down really well.
Which is why I think that he is a BSer. Not like all the time about everything, but because you're lured into this, he's a naive, sweet guy. Aw, it's PETA, the baker's son. And then he's hitting you with this thing that really tugs on your heartstrings. And he's doing that on purpose. Now, whether it's true or not, and he recognizes by being vulnerable, he's becoming, like, that makes him, people connect to him more. Yeah, that's true for sure. But he's choosing to reveal that at a time that's most beneficial for him.
Yeah.
Which is strategic and is, dare I say, slightly manipulative. I'm not saying it's bad. Like,
sure.
I'm saying you got to play. It's a game. You have to play the game.
Yeah. Which is what he's doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now, I'm also like, it's not a game. People are dying. That's not a game. But
so bouncing off of that, we get the hectic mess of the opening of the careers. I mean, we're just seeing it all start. They're going up in the tube. They're getting disoriented because they were down underground and now they're in daylight, having to figure things out, going for things, running away from things. And then you're seeing PETA with the careers hunting Katniss.
What's his face says at the cornucopia?
Uh-huh.
And I always think of the Thanksgiving cornucopia.
Yeah. But it's like shaped after.
Yeah, but it does not look like that. It looks like a Tesla cornucopia.
It does kind of look like a Tesla cornucopia. It's supposed to be gold. That is one of my frustrating things is like, it's supposed to be this gold shiny cornucopia that you can see from like anywhere in the arena. And so it's just like,
it's not super noticeable.
Tesla cornucopia that's like,
which I think jives with the aesthetic of the Capitol.
Sure.
But But like, it's very weird because I'm expecting like this woven basket type shape.
Gotcha,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that's just in my
You're
head.
wanting
And
it to be the Fruit of the Loom cornucopia.
I'm just thinking of it like that. And then I'm like, not the same thing. Okay. Okay. I just noted that. Isn't there a whole discussion about like, don't run, just escape? Like,
yeah, I
right
mean,
away?
Haymitch had said that in like their discussions that like they need to not go for items. They need to run, find water, find high ground, like, you know, X amount of things, shelter, warmth. And Katniss is really just kind of dealing with
like
trying to
stuck
figure
in
out
between.
what am I going to do? Like, am I going to go for this? Am I going to go for this? And so we get to see some of that internal struggle for her. Peeta looking
runs
out
right
for
away,
her, and he's
right?
just like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And so she is able to get a bag. She runs into Foxface. I think that that's an interesting scene, is that she and this girl, like,
This is the girl with the knives.
No, that's Clove. So she's a redhead. She is from like 4 or 5. I think maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
She's really good at identifying plants and different things like that. You see her in an earlier scene. And so they both run into each other as they're running away. And they both like don't know what to do. They're just both scared kids, like unsure, like they kind of know in the back of their head they're supposed to be killing one another, but they don't want to. Yeah. This isn't something that they're interested in. And so they're just trying to figure out what to do. And then they both just end up running away. And so I think that really shows both of their characters. This isn't something we're interested in. We don't want to be playing this game. Right. They're terrified. They're thrown into this situation.
We don't actually want to kill somebody.
Yeah. And so they both just decide to not, and they run and they split.
Yeah.
And so you get to see both of their characters in that. Like, that's not how they're wanting to play this game, is to go through, slashing everybody like the careers are back at the cornucopia. Because, I mean, they make it through, I think, at least 10 tributes in that first bit. They're able to clear away quite a few of them just by protecting that area and just going at it super hard. So, yeah. What do you think when you see later that Peeta has joined up with the careers?
I'm like, what's happening here? How did they found him and he was like, wait, I can help you find Katniss.
It'd be great to know. Yeah.
Like, what is that? And then I do feel a little bad for him because while I think he's up to something, Katniss has no idea that he's up to something.
Because Katniss has no idea of anything. She's just along for the ride.
Well, honestly, she's literally just trying to survive.
Yeah.
She hasn't been able to trust anybody. She barely trusts Gale. I would honestly say she barely trusts him.
Yeah.
And he seems to be like her best friend.
The only person she trusts is Prim. That's it.
And trusting is not this, like, that's not even the same thing as relying on Prim to do anything. Because she doesn't let Prim do anything.
She lets her milk her goat.
Oh, yay.
She lets her collect
goat.
strawberries. She lets her go to school.
She's not dependent on literally anybody but herself.
Yeah.
So she doesn't know, like, how to trust somebody in that way.
Yeah. Because even her relationship with Haymitch, it is like, she has some trust for him because I think like he did grow up in the Seam, which is the same area where she's from in District 12, like kind of that hard life. I mean, he's been living in Victor's Village because he's a Victor. But like she knows that he's kind of from that background. And even throughout the films, like their relationship is she's like, oh, I have to do this in order to get this. Like she knows like later in the caves, she needs to kiss
not
Peeta
the same
to get
as trust.
Yes,
though.
it's a different like level of like she understands him more and she can like communicate with him through that way.
There's
but
an
it's still
empathy,
not
like they understand each other in a different way.
Yeah.
But she's not depending on anybody to help her get anything.
Yeah.
And that's what the trust that I'm talking about, where you have to like let go and accept that somebody else is going to do the thing that you need that will directly affect your survival. And she hasn't been able to let that go. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. She hasn't had anybody in her life that has, outside of her dad, after her dad dying, we'll say, she hasn't had anybody in her life that has been able to build that with her that she could depend on.
Sure.
Nobody has been dependable.
Yeah.
And again, even Gale, who I think is probably her best friend, she doesn't even have that with him 100% either. Like, she's hoping that he's going to look after Prim, but she gave Prim the tools to try to be self-sufficient as well. which also really good. Good job, sister. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Help your sister be self-sufficient. That is ideal. You don't necessarily want her to depend on somebody else.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes a village. So there's that. Anyways.
So did you have thoughts on how the game makers can literally just interject in the game all the time? I mean, they're creating mutts, they're creating fireballs.
That's upsetting.
They're just throwing stuff in.
You can't win a game when you don't know how to win.
Yeah.
You don't know what winning looks like.
The rules are changing. The environment's change. I mean, this is something that, and you would assume not only are they doing it in this one, they're doing it in years past. So like how much have they controlled the narrative of like, is that why there's not any victors from 12? Because they've made sure that they're not getting past a certain point. Like,
because they haven't, because I think they're just so weak because they've been oppressing them for so long. The hardest. Like they're the ones that are feeling the oppression the hardest, I think. But what really bothers me is the contestants. I don't think they realize that this is happening. So I think at one point they're like, oh, she's getting too close to the outer edge or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's bring her back in.
That's when they started the fire. Yeah. Because she was so far away from everything else.
And then they start doing things
yeah.
to bring her back in. And she is just reacting to those.
Yeah.
She doesn't get to stop and take a minute and think like, okay, why are these things happening now?
Yeah. Because she got injured.
They're making them happen because of X, Y, and Z. And so even then, she gets injured. So if somebody comes to kill her, it's not even that they hunted her and found her based on their own merits.
Yeah. It's because of what happened.
It's because she was.
And that's just another way of like
them controlling
them. Yeah. That they're controlling this. They're in this.
But not only do the contestants don't know, the viewers don't know
where that fire is
coming from. The game makers
from,
started that fire either. Yeah.
Because we don't know all that the contestants see.
Yeah.
Because they have the power to edit and show, okay, we're live, but which camera are we live on right now? Maybe we're seeing something else happen. Maybe the careers are, laying out the plan and they're getting action of that rather than Katniss running for her life from this fire.
And they could have a freaking half-hour delay on it and you wouldn't even know either. Like,
yep.
That's why I'm always saying, like, just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Like, you can Photoshop anybody on anything. And now you can, like, this whole AI is developed and it's having more global access to where you can put somebody's face up there and their voice and make it say things.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
Absolutely
terrifying.
Somebody at my work did this and I was like, yeah, I'm going to opt out of that one. I don't need my face saying things that I don't tell it to say. And I'm like, don't you think that's a little scary? And they're like, no, it's super cool. I'm like, well, there is an aspect of it that's super cool, but at the same time, like, that's scary. That means I could literally type in whatever I want it to say and make you say what I want you to say.
I don't even want my face to say what it says sometimes, let alone have someone else have control over what it is. Because I need to tell myself to chill every now and then. So, yeah. So what are our thoughts on Rue? We haven't talked about her yet.
She's too little. She's cute. And she's clever. But she's way too little to be there. How does she even know half the things she knows? How old's Katniss?
16.
Too little. These kids are too little.
I was 12 to 18.
Can you imagine any 12-year-old being able to do what Rue's doing?
So Rue, you don't have a lot of information of the other districts. And so that's something that they explore more in the books. And you kind of get to see a little bit because there's no communication between the districts. So Katniss has no idea what they do in 11. And so Rue is from literally like the plantation district, like they're growing crops. And so the kids are only going to school when it's not reaping season.
Yeah.
So like she's out in the field, she's up in the tree, she's very tiny. And so she's often up in the tree. She talked a little bit about how she, signals to workers it's time to go home. And so she has had those skills of being able to creep around and be quiet and things like that, which she showed off in the training sessions. And then she's been able to avoid all of the careers to this point so far because she's just small and hung out where people can't see you. And so I think that some of those skills, like she was lucky to come in with compared to other ones because for Katniss, like
because if it had been Prim, there's no way.
Absolutely no way. She would have been the first ones dead. Yeah. There's just not. And I think that's part of the reason why Katniss was so drawn to Rue is because it reminded her of Prim. Course. And so just having that connection But you really see the advantages and disadvantages of some of the regions, the districts here, because they're trained, the careers are trained in
They're
1 and 2.
trained to only do
some of
their jobs that the district does. They're not getting any outside, which, by the way, another form of control.
Mm-hmm. But see, here's the thing is like the boys in District 12, you don't go to the mines until you're 18. So they're not even building up that brute strength.
Yeah.
So if you're not having a baker's son job where you're lifting stuff regularly and you don't have the food or the money and the resources, so you're growing up in the seam where Katniss is from, you're not building any muscle. You don't have any
skills. Really.
So you don't have any of those skills or anything. Like you're going to school and you're kind of learning about this is how the mine works and you're learning about the history of Panem and how, they've been oppressing you forever and ever. But they don't have any of that to really be able to fight back against themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just dwindling down. People continue to die and they're attacked. Then we get to the rule change. Did you think that they were going to keep it? Like once they said it, the capital of, okay, if there's 2 people from the district, then they can win.
I didn't think past the change.
Okay. So you're just like, this is it.
Okay,
the rule is now changed. Rule. So you didn't have any question of like, oh, they might pull it back. Like, do we trust this?
I don't trust anything from them.
Sure. Good.
But I recognize that they said,
okay,
there's a rule change.
Okay. So we get to see, Katniss changes gears as soon after that. She immediately stops thinking about herself and starts to go towards Peeta and figuring out what that looks like. We're seeing more of their relationship.
She's forced into the situation to where she thinks she might have to kill Peeta. Or if she just is far enough away, somebody else will kill him and she won't have to.
Yeah.
But she definitely doesn't want to do it. She just has accepted this is her fate.
Yeah.
And I think that Peeta, with his strategicness, is still trying to he was trying to kind of change it up a little bit. Okay. He wasn't necessarily 100% accepting of this is my fate and I'm probably going to die. He was like, how can I shake this up just a little bit?
Of it. He obviously didn't want to, but he even made that comment about when his mom came to see him and she was like, at least we're going to have a winner from, we could
talking about
maybe
Katniss.
Have a winner. Yeah. It being Katniss and not him.
But what I'm saying is I think he's like, how can I shake this up before I go? Maybe is a better way to put it.
From my viewpoint, I think his goal is always to give Katniss as many advantages as possible to help her get through because he saw the potential in her and he was just like, if we can get somebody home, he has those feelings for her. I think there's multitudes to this, layers for him, but he was going to do whatever he could to try to keep her alive. And so he was helping her along in any way possible. And then when they changed that rule, it was kind of like, okay, now there's a chance. It could be both of us. We could do this together because it was just them and District 2. Those were the only other 2 people from the district that were left because it was Cato and Clove.
The only other couples.
Yes. Cato and Clove
I
from
use
2.
The term couples. Pairings maybe is better.
Yep. So 2 and 12. And then there was just Thresh from 11, Foxface from 4 or 5, wherever she was from. And I think that was it. Yeah. So we get them going back and forth. She goes to the cornucopia, grabs the medicine that they need.
Which I'm him. She should have just grabbed more than one bag, but okay. If we're going to be strategic, yeah. So Rogie actually sat down and watched part of the movie, and I was so excited that he watched part of it with me last night. But one of the things from the books that we didn't get to see, which I'm kind of bummed about, is before she leaves, she promises Peeta she's not going to leave. Yeah.
And she's just like, what am I going to do? Because he is not able to move.
Right.
But she's like, I can't, he's going to start screaming and then somebody's going to come kill him.
Right.
So Haymitch actually sends her sleeping syrup. And it's this very candy, sickly, sweetness.
Oh.
And so she finds berries or something and mixes it with it. And she's like, oh, look what I found. And feeds it to him.
So she actually poisons him basically.
So she puts him to sleep to the point when he finally realizes what it is and it's in his mouth. She covers his mouth and doesn't let him breathe until he swallows it. I just find that so amusing that that's the length that Katniss is willing to go to.
Yeah.
Is just she is hardcore in trying to keep him alive.
Yeah.
And we don't get to see all of it. We get to see some of it, but we don't get to see all of that.
It's very reminiscent of in Prey when she feeds them the berries and they're like, we're going to kill him. And she's like,
Oh.
Wait, I forget what she says. Like, or you're going to make him cold or something. She's like, better cold than dead or whatever. Like, yeah, that's where we're at. These are our options.
Yeah. We see the cornucopia.
Wait,
they have
so
the
Rogie
fight.
sat down to talk or watch some of it with you, and you're like, why did we talk about Rogie sitting down to watch this with you?
Because I paused it to tell him that tidbit.
Oh, okay.
Because I was really excited to tell him.
Was he like, okay, I'm done now,
He was just
thanks.
kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And then he just kept watching it with me. And I was
He's
like,
like, I don't really
cool, thanks.
So did he say they should have sold the extra bags?
No.
Okay, whatever.
He, I think honestly, maybe Thresh stole Districts 1's bag, possibly.
Okay.
So I think that there was some of that. I don't quite remember clearly, but I think that there was a little bit of that because we do see the Katniss and Clove and Thresh interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think one of the biggest takeaways for me is we're really, and again, we see it from Cato earlier when he snaps a kid's necks. And then we just see Thresh beating Clove against the size
The difference
of the
between the
cornucopia
career criminals
and just
the career criminals.
But
the
like
career tributes.
the career, and Thresh isn't a career,
Right.
but he's been working in the fields for a long time. So he's a
the
strong
strength.
boy.
Yeah.
And so like you're just seeing the raw power of some of these kids
Yeah.
that whether they're career or not, like they are just, I mean, he took her out by smashing her twice. And then Cato took out that one kid
Right.
just
Snapping his neck.
just so smooth. It was no effort from him at all. And so we're really seeing just the power and strength of some of these kids and the lengths that we're going to stay alive and what that looks like and just the emotions that has to be running through these kids to be able to do these things and try doing their best to hang in there is just so difficult because I can't even imagine if that was, I mean, I can kind of imagine because our world's awful, but like just like being put in that situation as a teenager because, you know, my brain's fully developed now. And back then, it wasn't. Like, I had no idea what was going on, what I was doing.
Katniss to be making a choice in the moment to not kill what's-her-face, and then, like, for that to come back around, I mean, that's not the one that really came back around.
Fox-face, is that what you're talking about in the beginning? Yeah.
And then for her to have taken Rue under her wing and, you know, she didn't kill Rue. She gave her a makeshift burial as best as she could, and the other one was like bragging about it, which is so short term, like so on point for a kid.
Yeah.
But then for those gestures from Katniss to be noticed by somebody else and then responded to in like he let Katniss live because of who she was to Rue. Like he gave her a pass.
And something we didn't talk about was when Rue passed away and Katniss did the burial and kind of the respect thing for her is that it pans to the districts and there is riots. Like they're outraged at what's going on and how it's happening. And that was something that Rogie mentioned. He's like, I really appreciate, like, I don't think I appreciated when these films like first came out is that like we're seeing everything because how media shows us today is like, you know, just some of the different riots or peaceful protests and stuff. He's like, this isn't peaceful. This is them trying to take back their world, their livelihood, like what's going on. And so they're pushing back against the peacekeepers and just so upset with what they've put their kids into and through. And I think that is a really great scene to show that. But also you see that like the scales they're working with are actual step-on scales, and with all the technology that the Capitol has just on the train alone, and this is how they're keeping their people to keep them oppressed.
Yeah,
and it's just seeing the back and forth constantly is just I really like
the technology disparity, and
I think it was done very well. Of just really being able to go back and forth between those stark differences because like they're given medicine in the games that heals them over. And she had a big gash on her forehead.
Just completely regenerate. Like you can't even tell there was a gash there.
It's gone. Yeah. And so I think it's so hard for them as kids to even see it in real time and just be in disbelief, but also have to go on to the next thing so quickly. And I think it would be difficult as a viewer to see all of the, you know, just, I'm sure they don't see all of it. I know that stuff gets cut and, you know, there's only certain things that are being put out for the mainstream media and stuff like that. But I think that was a really I really appreciated seeing that piece of the people just rioting because of their just core frustration for what was going on. I think I enjoyed one of PETA, I think his funny bit when they were like, oh, okay, we should go hunting, figure out what's next. And he's just like, oh, I'll take the bow. Like, I like the little bits of joking PETA and just kind of like him being fun.
Just kidding.
Because he's like, obviously you're going to take it. But in that next scene, we see, I think, Katniss's genuine concern for PETA when she hears that
she's like
cannon.
Freaked out.
That is, I feel like the first time we're really seeing how Katniss feels of like, oh my gosh, what's that? Because I don't even think it was, just that, oh, well, now two of us can't go home. It was just that, oh my gosh, like, he's become this person.
Triggering because she just went through this with Rue, where they separated and then Rue died.
Yeah. That could be a good part of it. They
separated, but also PETA means more to her than Rue did because they have a little bit more history.
They have that history.
And he's from the district. She ultimately knew she or Rue were going to die anyways.
Yeah.
So I think like she had that in her brain. But now with the rule change, she thinks that they could both survive.
Yeah.
And so it's even more desperate that he might be dead.
Yeah. I've seen... I think it was interesting that she decided to keep the berries and see. I liked the line of like, let's see if Cato likes berries, like just kind of, saving that for later. And I knew the first time I watched it, obviously that's going to come back up somehow. Like, why would she keep the berries if something's not going to happen? Of course, you knew the first time you
watched it because you'd read the books.
No, I hadn't read the books before. I saw the movies first.
Oh, okay.
I think it was the first two movies, and then I started reading the books.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like these books are so good. Because there's just, I love all those details. Like I want those details. And so, she keeps the berries. I hate that the game makers are like changing time. It's just another way of like them being able to stay in a constant confusion and like distress.
It's like, another way to keep them freaked out and their adrenaline high and they're
and they have to, they're trying to keep things going because if there's not deaths constantly, then people get bored and they're not engaging and they're not spending money on tributes and sending stuff in and all that stuff. And so it's just the amount of control that the game makers have is just so
infuriating.
Yes, infuriating. That's just constant. And then putting in those mutts to try to end the game. And so something that you couldn't see as through the movie, but the mutts were actually like supposed to be correlations to the tributes that have already died. So they had collars on with their district number, and then they had the same eyes as the tributes. So there was a Rue mutt, there was a Thresh mutt, there was a
creepy
glitter mutt or glimmer mutt, there was a clove mutt, and so foxface mutt. There was a bright red one because that was her because she's had the red hair. So it was just another way of like really traumatizing these kids and putting it in there is just seeing eyes that they'd been seeing and playing with and training with prior to or helping. And then now, as these vicious animals trying to attack.
Oh, and of course, I'm sure they're getting this whole, like, I killed you and now you're back in mutt form to kill me. And that's a direct correlation of me killing you. And really, no, it's somebody who had some technology and a little bit of time to, do it for you.
Did you have any feelings for Cato and his death?
Is he the number 11?
He's the number 1.
Oh, when he...
So it's just
he's
Katniss,
like freaking
PETA,
out and he's
Cato.
like, I thought I could win, but there's no winners.
I think I don't know if he said there's no winners, but it was something along the lines of like,
dead.
I really thought, because if you think about the careers, it is pounded into them that they have a real chance of winning.
Yeah.
Like that is what they're bred to do almost. And they volunteer.
Yeah.
So up until that point, he was like, I am winning this thing. I am going home. And so just seeing his final realization that like, this was
never not go home. It was never something.
It was never a guarantee.
Won. Yeah,
this wasn't, because you saw that in Cato, you saw that in Clove, you saw that in Glimmer, and just those careers. You see it in their arrogance and their confidence.
Yeah,
and just him having that realization, and just I think that like sadness of just like, this is where we are. Like my whole body and like life has meant nothing to them. This is just a part of these games in this pageant, and it wasn't ever about me. And just, I think that full realization was really tough for him. And just
which I get. And I was sad for the guy too. I'm like, I don't like this. But then I was like, but somebody has to win, and I want it to be Katniss and Peeta. So sorry, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was great how Peeta was helping her out. Like, you know, get him in the hand. That way he doesn't pull them both down. Because he could have very easily snapped, as we saw earlier.
Yeah, he could have snapped his neck.
Very easily taken Peeta down with him. Or just been like, you know what? Just to put one to you, I'm just going to take him down with me.
Yep.
And then you can live
jump off
with the rest of that. Yeah. So he goes down. Katniss puts him out of his misery because the mutts were just going at him.
Which is horrible, but also very, like, that is a small mercy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have been able to come back. Well, actually, heck, what do I know? They had medicine that healed, like, gashes and everything. Maybe he could have come back from that. But they weren't going to let him come back from it.
Yeah, for sure. So then we see Katniss and Peeta. They're just like, okay, great. We get to go home. What are we doing?
Yeah. Where's our shiny beam of light to tractor beam us out of here?
Actually, we've decided to change the rule. There can only be one.
Again.
Happy Hunger Games. May the odds be ever in your favor. So what did you think was going to happen after that? Like, did you think that Katniss was just going to draw her bow and shoot him right away? Did you think that Peeta was going to be like, I don't know, like, you know, maybe try to react? Like, what was your initial thoughts with
I didn't think they were going to kill each other. But I didn't know what was going to happen because she was already to the point. They missed the window for her to be okay with killing him. Mm-hmm. Not that I think she ever really would have been okay with it, but they missed the window for that.
Yeah.
So there's no way. And we know there's no way Peeta was going to kill her because one, physically, we don't know that he could. I mean, he could. Let me rephrase that.
Depending on how close they were, I think he could have tackled her and done it. But
But I don't think he would have wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't think he probably didn't kill anybody.
Yeah. So what we don't see, I know, I'm going back to the books. What we don't see is like Katniss is considering it because her back is turned. And so when she turns around, she has her bow and her arrow in her hand still. And she's just like, do I just shoot him and get him over with? And it's because Peeta is just kind of like, go for it, man. You've got more to live for. Like, you've got your sister, you've got your mom. Like, I've got my parents, but I think he's got brothers too, but he's just kind of like, you need this more. And then that's when she comes up with the plan of like, no, we're just going to both do it. And that is just a huge slap in the face to the Capitol because they changed the narrative. They don't get to be in control of who is this winner, who is this person, what does this look like? And so I really feel like that, Peeta has been such a huge influence on Katniss and what her outcomes have been and what her rebelliousness looks like to the world because of his decisions that have caused her to do like he has led her to
decisions or his decisions have made on her.
Yes. And so I think it was smart for them to do that, but we lead into then the warning from Haymitch of like they are not happy. This is not a good pickle to be in. We need to be careful because just because the games are over, which Katniss that's been her whole goal is to just get through the games. She has no thoughts. Little does she doesn't know what's happening. And you know why she doesn't know? Because she's a baby.
Because she's a baby.
Because her frontal lobe hasn't been formed yet.
Well, yeah, because she has not been in any experience where she's had to think that far ahead.
Mm. Yeah.
Like even in her day-to-day life, she hunts and they live. And then she hunts and then they live.
Yeah.
And then she hunts and then they live. She's not thinking of long-term anything because she doesn't have the luxury to do that.
Yeah.
So even now, she's literally just thinking of surviving.
Her whole goal is just to end the games. Yeah. And now Haymitch is like, kind of the future, not great. But she's just like, I just want to go home. Like, I just want to be done.
Like, I don't know if he says this, but like home is not what it was.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever be the same. You're not going back to where you were. Like you started this journey and everything is different. Everything will always be different. Nothing will ever be be the same.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on Crane's end, Seneca Crane, the head game maker?
So I think that was really interesting.
Okay.
Wait a second. Snow kills him, right?
He puts him in a locked room with the berries, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking he was poisoned, but then I was misremembering him in the greenhouse with Snow, and I was like, wait.
Oh, gotcha.
When is that scene? Yeah. So, like, this is your option.
Yeah.
So I think that was interesting. Definitely a power play. Like, if this is your punishment, you get to die now.
But I think it also just shows the power of President Snow. And again, where you are, just because you're a capital citizen doesn't mean
you're safe from
that you're
oppression.
above the law.
Yeah.
That you are in control of what's going on.
It doesn't mean you're above the law. It doesn't mean you're out of Snow's control.
Yeah.
It's not the same as saying above the law, because if you broke the law in servitude to Snow, that's not a problem.
Mm.
Do you know
That's
what
a
I'm
good point.
saying?
Yeah. It's because you allowed these children to write their own narrative rather than we are in control. We are deciding what's happening and like how it's going to go down, because that was them changing the rule and then changing it back. That was them getting the power back. And then when they brought the berries in that shouldn't have been in the arena in the first place as Snow,
why?
Because it gives them the option to kill themselves.
But you wouldn't have known that. So he's like thinking so strategically. He wants to control literally everything.
Which, I mean, is more backstory you'll get from Snow later on. And also, if you're to read his book or watch his movie. Like, I mean, yeah, you have to think when you have this much power and you've got this many people and things under you, you have to consider every small detail. You need to know the why it's happening, where, when, who's going to be there. You have to have all of those finite details down in order to remain in power for as long as you do, because he's been in power for a really long time.
Yeah.
And so I think that really did some good foreshadowing for the next movie for him, because we don't see a lot of President Snow, but the little bits we do, it's very specific. And so he is in the head game maker, like he's in the room for this next game, Hunger Games, he is definitely going to be more a part of it.
Yeah.
Because he does not want this to happen again. Like he is going to ensure that they are in control of the narrative moving forward.
I mean, that's what he thinks.
That's
what
his
he wants.
plan. That's his plan.
So so I have things, but what is your favorite scene?
Oh my goodness. I think that's a great question. I think probably my favorite scenes are when I feel like PETA is being like genuine. So I feel like when he says like, I'll take the bow, or like
the slight comic relief you got going on
like
there.
just kind of like him joking about things and like him just being happy. Because I see him as a really genuine character. And so I really enjoy it. And I think that some of that is kind of merged from because I've seen all the movies. And so like, I'm thinking about specific scenes in the next movie that I know that I really like that he's in. But really anything with Effie, like she's just
so crazy.
She can just take the room just with one word. Like at one point, like when Katniss like leans PETA up against the wall and she's like, I can't believe you said that, you were in love with me. What do you think you're doing? And she's just like, manners. Like
she's so out of touch, but is like so involved.
Yeah.
Like she's so oblivious. That's what it is. She's just oblivious. Yeah. I think that I like the training stuff.
Okay.
Because I just find it entertaining. Like you're seeing a lot of things at once, and I don't know. I enjoy that. Yeah. Okay, so I have seen The Maze Runner.
Okay.
And I have seen this.
Okay.
And I have seen bits and pieces of Divergent.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen the whole thing. Other dystopian type futuresque movies that I'm missing. Because those three came out like not at the same time, but sort of in succession of each other,
kind
right?
of around each other. Yeah. But yeah, I've heard I don't know, like, I don't think I believe this, but I've heard a fan theory that the Maze Runner, the Hunger Games, and Divergent all is in the same timeline. So they're just happening at different parts of the United States.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Which I don't
believe that.
I can agree with, just because of like pinpoints that I've seen from Maze Runner and like landmarks.
Right.
And then where they are in the Hunger Games. Like, I feel like they overlap.
Mm-hmm.
But I do in my head, like the idea of like the Hunger Games and Divergent almost being in the same universe, because I feel like the technology that they have in some of the future Divergent ones, like in like the second or the third, are very similar to some of the stuff they have in the Capitol. And so I kind of can see that overlap a little bit more of like, we're kind of doing our own thing. But the thing about that is, if there were other entities out there, I don't feel like the Capitol would be so gung-ho on like destroying their own property and land. Like, they would need to be cultivating those resources more.
Right.
So I think it's a fun thought, but I don't think
I don't
that
buy
it's something
it at all.
that really works through.
1000%
Yeah.
disagree. Okay, so I think the Hunger Games is the better one.
Oh, for sure.
I think that there is more depth in the storytelling.
Yes.
There's less of us like just accepting it. There's more show and tell in the Hunger Games than there was in Maze Runner, for sure.
Yeah. And I haven't read the books of Divergent or Maze Runner. I do have it on my list of things I would like to go through, because my niece she's going through a pretty hardcore reading phase. And so I kind of wanted to get them and then read them and then gift them to her, so that way she could read
chat
them.
about them.
And we'd be able to talk. So I gifted her all of the Hunger Games for Christmas. So that way, because that's my favorite and she was interested. And so I was like, okay, great, we can talk about this. But I really like how the Hunger Games is done. Again, I am a huge advocate for the books. Please go read them.
I think that it's like, I don't know if they had more money too, but the movie is just, it looks better.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just shot better.
yeah. Maybe?
Which, I mean, it's going to get even better when you see the rest of
like
them.
a film
Yeah.
connoisseur, so maybe I'm wrong, but it just felt better as far as the way the movie was shot, and the storyline was richer, and the backstory was deeper, and the characters were more relatable, understandable. Like, I feel like there were just so many of those things.
Yeah. I think partially because like this, like, yes, it's dystopian, but it's not super far off. Like with Maze Runner,
maybe because
I mean,
it's dystopian, but like with the different districts and the levels of oppression that they're at.
and there was just familiarity
Technology-wise, that's
in
not
each. I mean,
far.
obviously, like District 11 is slaves, like, you know, that working the fields and the plantation, like that's a reality that we know and aren't comfortable with, but like have an understanding of.
Yeah.
And so for the other districts, it's like, you know, this is a poor slum. Like, this is kind of what District 12 is. And they have to go work in the factory, you know, the mines and do that. And so there's just those different levels that we're, I think, a little bit more familiar with and understand already to a certain point. And so we're able to just kind of digest that a little bit easier. Of like, this is what it feels like. Yeah.
The other thing that I think is really interesting that I'm always trying to figure out with this type of book, movie, whatever, is the landmark piece, or where, like, this is what used to be North America.
Yeah.
So where is what? And what can I connect to it? And I know, like, couldn't really do that with the Maze Runner at all. And I think, like, I saw a clip or something, and I was thinking that Divergent was like Chicago-y area.
It's definitely a like a large city.
Yeah. Because isn't there a Ferris wheel in that or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
On like a river. So yeah,
so
it's like Navy Pier.
Yeah, Navy Pier.
Yeah.
So like that's fun if you can like find those like landmarks, or, you know, the region that you think it would be in. I think that's always fun to like draw a connection to. So those are the things that I enjoy about it. But yeah, I think Hunger Games was probably just better done. It could also be that I'm older, right? So I'm expecting more out of it, you know?
Yeah. You're not looking at it in the eyes of a teenager.
Yeah.
So there are different sections where I feel like parts of Panem, like there's obviously, they don't have like a specific map that I'm aware of, but there's some different like.
She would have had to have mapped it out though at some point.
I feel like, but I haven't seen it like in a book or anything.
But maybe she just didn't release it.
That could be because she hasn't released it. Yeah.
When you storyboard your book,
you need a kind of a general idea.
She's got to know which regions are which, or she's going to have like somebody that does coal mining in the ocean.
So what they have, honestly, is that Panem is essentially Canada, the United States, all the way down into Mexico.
Okay.
And so District 12 is... So they don't have it going all over the United States. There's pretty much a like inland. It goes in a couple hundred miles. But District 12 is essentially, in this specific map, is the eastern coast, what looks like southern bits, so underneath Ohio. So we've got some ends of Ohio, Kentucky, a little bit of Tennessee, and just kind of that small section over there.
Fishing?
No. So the fishing one is 4. So that's west coast. And so that's kind of along Canada, Washington, stuff like that. And then District 11 is part of Texas going all the way down into some of Mexico. And then it's Alabama and like kind of those southern places. And so, District, they're just kind of all scattered about where it's just kind of different sections. And so, I mean, it takes them like a bit. It takes them several days to get from District 12 all the way to the capital, because the capital in this map is in the middle of it all.
Okay.
So there's different versions of it. I think it is neat to see the different versions that they have there. Just kind of all as like, different people have mapped it out, because everyone has a slightly different idea of what it looks like. And so, I think it's fun to see those. I would really like to see a map. I think that would be great if Susan Collins were to
release a map.
Hey, by the way, if she can get with a cartographer, I'd appreciate it. So
you heard it here.
So, would you watch Hunger Games again?
I might watch it again. I might not.
I will definitely watch it again.
It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have to see this, but I don't know.
I will also definitely read the books again. I was thinking about doing a reread, honestly, a couple weeks ago, because it doesn't take me that long to get through the first 3. They're pretty quick.
Yeah.
But the more recent ones, it takes me a little bit more to get through. And the one that she just released about Haymage, I was so excited to read it, but I slow wrote it because I was just like, this is the first time I'm ever going to be able to read this book. And I was just so excited for it, but I also wanted to make sure that I was like ingesting it all correctly. And so, I need to do another reread of that for sure. But guys, hit me up if you want to talk about Hunger Games, because I am here for it. I'm all about it. Love it. 10 out of 10 would read and watch it. Will read and watch again. So if you have questions, comments, or concerns, I don't know what you'd have concerns about, but let us know. Hit us up through various forms of media.
I'm not going to list them because I don't remember what they are.
I was going to say, I don't remember what they are. This isn't my normal gig. So thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.